today in the spirit of local business and anything homegrown. We're shedding light on King Vleis clothing.
I always say to people, just start. That's
Okay.
the first thing.
Yeah.
So nobody's funding me. I'm using my savings. There are days where I'm broke, but I've got the will and I know what I'm doing. And sometimes you just have to get into the deep end,
Yeah.
sink or swim.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not going to swim.
In different places, I wanted to follow up with him. I mean, he left when he was at the pinnacle of his career.
Yeah.
And for many young people, especially that are watching, will say, I mean, it must have taken, how much the capital did we have to start this business?
Sure. I used all my savings.
Yeah.
It was, I started making t-shirts
Yeah.
and hoodies. I mean, I got like 70,000 or 100,000. Then I started making, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with a business like that, especially if you're finding yourself, well, with any business really, you need to just keep putting back into your business and you need to sacrifice because now I can't go out like I used to anymore because the money has to go back into the business.
King Vleis clothing. Firstly, that was the name King Vleis clothing.
Yeah.
Vleis Manyama was.
Yes.
And then clothing.
Clothing.
So
is
Manyama
something-
clothing.
they get along very
Oh,
well.
okay.
The Vleis Manyama, like you said, Tebatso Manyama. And then the clothing is something that I've always loved, always had a passion for. And and then from 2020, when COVID hit, that's when I decided to take it serious. And here we are.
Botani and welcome to the Sheds. We come back to you once again today in the spirit of local business and anything homegrown. We're shedding light on King Vleis clothing. Joining us is Tebatso Manyama, the owner or the founder or whatever that he is.
The chief founder,
Vleis.
welcome.
I'm something.
Yeah, something. Welcome to the Sheds.
How are you guys?
Good.
Fine, and how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
King Vleis clothing. Firstly, that was the name King Vleis clothing.
Yeah.
Vleis Manyama was.
Yes.
And then clothing.
Clothing.
So
is
Manyama
something-
clothing.
they get along very
Oh,
well.
okay.
The Vleis Manyama, like you said, Tebatso Manyama. And then the clothing is something that I've always loved, always had a passion for. And and then from 2020, when COVID hit, that's when I decided to take it serious. And here we are, about 3 years later.
Okay.
And we're going.
For people who don't know you, just your background and how you got to be an owner of King Vleis clothing.
Yeah.
How did that come about and what were you doing before?
Okay. Quick one is that I'm a Limpopo boy. Grew up in Zanin, Bulawayo.
Yeah.
Came to Joburg in 2000, grade 8. Matriculated Highlands North Boys High School.
Okay.
Got a soccer scholarship
Okay.
to America
Oh, all right.
for 4 years.
Yeah.
Did my international business, international marketing. Came back and I worked in the corporate world. And I just climbed up the charts, became dealer principal. I was a dealer principal at the dealership until last year when I decided there's more to me than this. There's more to me than just saying I'm a dealer principal, I drive
Yeah.
the fanciest car, blah. I'm born to do much more. I'm born to assist in other ways possible. Especially, I'm very pro-black. I always tell people I'm not anti-white, but I'm pro-black.
Yeah.
And I know that if I can get my own business going and have my own rules, because my people go through different things than other people. I don't care who says what. Then I can make the calls myself.
Yeah.
So you abandoned the position of principal
Yeah.
dealership.
Yeah.
And you went to start your own business.
Yeah.
How was it starting a business from scratch? Did you have capital? Did you start getting capital? What was the issue? Did you use your savings?
I use my savings. I always say to people, just start. That's
Okay.
the first thing.
Yeah.
So nobody's funding me. I'm using my savings. There are days where I'm broke, but I've got the will and I know what I'm doing. And sometimes you just have to get into the deep end, sink or swim.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not going to swim.
In different places, I wanted to follow up with him. I mean, he left when he was at the pinnacle of his career.
Yeah.
And for many young people, especially that are watching, will say, I mean, it must have taken, how much the capital did we have to start this business?
Sure. I used all my savings.
Yeah.
It was, I started making t-shirts
Yeah.
and hoodies. I got like 70,000 or 100,000. Then I started making, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with a business like that, especially if you're finding yourself, well, with any business really, you need to just keep putting back into your business and you need to sacrifice because now I can't go out like I used to anymore because the money has to go back into the business. And that's what most starters don't understand because now you want to live that life that you lived as a dealer principal, but you don't have the funds right now.
Yeah.
The funds are going into the business. And
Other than your savings, did you have a backup from maybe a bank or a loan?
No.
Did you didn't?
Nobody's giving me a cent.
Wow.
Nobody's giving me a cent.
Is it because you never approached somebody, or you didn't know of somebody, or you were declined?
That was the first one. I didn't know somebody, and people will always come to me and say, try this guy, and then they vanish. You know, everybody knows somebody. And then they vanish, and it kind of just delays what you want to do. Because you're like, I'm waiting for this guy to come back to me. I'm waiting. Then I thought to myself, just do it. Let me just go in. Let me just go in. And I actually believe that once it's my funding, my this and that I'm putting in.
Yes.
It's my back on the
It's
line.
on you, yes.
It's on me. I got no choice but to make it right. Because I don't have savings anymore. This is my savings. It has to work. There's no other choice. It has to work.
The step-by-step of owning a business. You said you started with t-shirts.
Yeah.
Are you producing t-shirts, or you were importing t-shirts and brand them? How did I just want you to take us through the intricacies of the textile industry, and how to start, where do you begin,
Okay.
in as far as the t-shirt and
I love that question. So it started with, first of all, you don't know anybody. That's the other thing. I never knew anybody. I learned as I go. And people are very, very secretive with their knowledge. So I started by getting t-shirts and just branding them. And you know, you work on your name. So they call me King Vleis. And there's a big reason why I call the company King Vleis, because I worked on myself as a brand growing up, like since matric, like so I can become employable. I made sure that when you associate the name King Vleis, it's with positive things. Hence I call it King Vleis. I got t-shirts, branded with King Vleis, and hoodies and sweaters. And then you start knowing people. Like, no, dude, I can make a t-shirt and we start from scratch and we can make this and that. And doesn't happen overnight. That's another thing. Entrepreneurs think this is a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not. If you are not willing to
put in the hard work,
pay creditors on time, have banks call you because you haven't paid this and that, this is not for you. It takes a lot of patience and along the way, people let you down. They do. You lose a lot of people. So I always say that I'm driving a bus, right? I'm going to get to the finish line. I'm going to get to the destination. This bus, along the way, I stop at a bus stop. Some people will come on, some will get off. But the main fact is the bus will get to the destination. So you get people on, and then I'm like, then they mess up or whatever, and I get to the next bus stop, and I'm like, nah, I think it's time to get off.
Claire, I want the basic of it all. You've got your t-shirts, you've branded them, you start selling. Because I want to keep this as basic as possible before we pick up stuff. How do you begin? Do you phone your friends and say, guys, the Tensis keeper?
That's where it starts.
Do you open a shop?
No.
Do you go full screen?
I don't have a shop as it is. I'm online. Even coming online it took some time. You're exactly that. You get the t-shirts, you brand them, you tell friends, guys, I'm selling this. And then your friends, your real friends, because some I still have people, real friends will buy, because I still have people who I thought my friends haven't even bought a cap. And you can say, well, in this and that, I'm
sure,
100 rand. I know you can afford it. Some people can support in a way of getting your name out there. But you get a t-shirt, like you said, tell my friends, put it on WhatsApp. I started on WhatsApp, and then it starts growing.
So it was a word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Then you open social media, then you do, and that's how it goes. And you keep going. And then you get invited to an interview, you talk your business, and that's how it goes. It keeps going.
So it's a story of using social media in a productive way
Absolutely.
to get your business out.
Absolutely.
Your story is very inspiring, for the fact that you started your company during lockdown. And I want to touch on this because after lockdown, a lot of companies and especially in entrepreneurs, small businesses, they shut down because of the economy was not moving. How did you survive COVID?
I think that's when I was still working in the corporate world. So that did help, that I was still in the corporate world. And during COVID, people were not buying much.
Yes.
But I always say, it's like being a leader. Well, you're not a leader when things are going well. That's you can't say I'm a leader. Then everybody can do that. You're a leader when things are going bad. How can you lead? So I thought to myself, when times are tough, can I stay afloat? Can I survive with all this? Can I keep going? And that's when I actually made a whole lot more stuff during COVID.
Did you sell masks or something?
Yeah, I sold masks. You
Yeah.
see, now
Yeah.
you start thinking outside the box.
Innovative,
Like,
yeah.
you know, how people love things.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants the government masks.
Yeah,
Because I want a branded mask.
So,
So
yeah,
I thought, well,
yeah.
if I can do a branded mask, let's do it. And I thought to myself, hang in there. And that's just life. Eh?
Yeah.
You got to hang in there. You have to hang in there because there's a saying, this too shall pass.
Mm.
I knew that this will pass. And when it passed, and if you check my box, there's inside I wrote in there, opportunities will always present themselves. Make sure they find you ready.
Wow.
I knew that when this COVID phase passes, I'm going to be ready.
The business of sneakers, I see you've got a box, so somebody makes you a box. Or is it something that you do yourself? It must be branded. There's some writing that must take place. And the sneakers themselves, are you making the sneakers or are you importing and branding the sneakers?
Okay, let's start with the box. So the box is made in South Africa. I said with
So it's 100%.
100%. No. I said with my people.
Yeah.
We literally, this is my handwriting on this box here.
Yeah.
Lead with courage.
Oh, okay.
I literally wrote that on a paper and we got it on the box.
Oh, okay.
It's all my sayings. Hope is not a strategy. Because I always say it's one thing to have hope, but then after that, what you're going to do? You need some sort of strategy. So we do this 100% in South Africa, in Joburg yet, actually where most of the companies do their boxes because that's how I got know. The shoes, it's the same supplier I started with the clothing. And this shoe, you won't find it anywhere because it's not like they gave me a shoe and I put my name there.
Yeah.
I drew the shoe. Now myself, my designer now, we drew the shoe. I told him the type of shoe I want. I want a lifestyle sneaker that you can wear with anything. You can wear with
your
shorts,
suits and
you can wear with your suits, you can wear with your jeans.
Like I say, like suits. Yeah. No, pick up. See. Yeah.
Yes, it's not made here. And I'll tell you why it's not made here. Once I found the shoe we wanted, we went online to find out somebody can make shoes for us. We found him in Polokwane and he was not keen. I actually drove to his house in Seshego because he didn't want to help us at all. And I said, can you please at least make me a sample of what I want so I can, because it's one thing to have something in your head, but you're on a vision. I got it. And then he was charging me what I'm charging for the shoe. So it was never going to work. So I spoke to my supplier overseas. I sent him the shoe. We went back and forth on the sole. And if you check, most people say it's the most comfortable shoe because we went back and forth at the same.
I'll come back and tell them if Live, this is not comfortable.
So I came back, and the reason being is because I'm a sneakerhead. I don't like this thing of people saying we have to wear the shoe in. I wanted you to wear the shoe and immediately feel like you and the shoe are
comfort.
One. Because as the slogan says, take a walk in my shoes. I want you to take that walk and feel it and feel my sweat and tears and the tribulations and trials that I've gone through while going through it.
So you prescribed everything, the sole, the quality,
everything.
The style.
Everything. From the tongue, whatever, I think you call it as tongue, from everything. Everything that's on this shoe, there is no shoe like this because we drew this shoe from scratch. And so this shoe is called the KV1.
Okay.
I've done the KV2 already. I've drawn it already. I'm on KV3. Although I'm going to release them 2-3 years from now. But for me, it's you got to keep working. While you're in the momentum, you got to keep going. I'm like Tupac. You know, Tupac died and his album still came years after. That's me. I just have to keep going.
Tebatso, so let's talk about unemployment, especially among young people. I mean, you're a young person yourself and you've launched this company yourself, and which is kudos to you. How many people have you employed, in your company?
I don't know if I'm young anymore. I was having this. So I've got a social media manager.
Okay.
I've got Sega, who I call the engine of the company. I've got my PR.
Okay.
I've got the designer.
Okay.
And I've got sales guy as well. So that's 5 people.
So
the goal, and I'm glad you brought that, is yes, of course, I want to make a profit. I'm not doing this for free. But the goal is to employ as many people as I can, especially black people, especially black youth, because that's where I'll give you an example. My previous company said that you can't work for them unless you have a matric. I know for a fact that sometimes my black people, it's hard to get a matric.
True.
It's not an excuse. There's situations where a 16-year-old is taking care of their family. Doesn't mean that they're stupid. They can't get to school.
You know
what I'm saying? So things like that are the reason why led to me opening my own company.
Wow.
But that's good. So there's the business of it. There are opportunities that you give to young people. What are the struggles? The struggles of running a business. I mean, for instance, if you've got 5 people working for you,
Yeah.
and I
Their
would
salary
assume,
issues and
to pay them,
Yeah.
you need to sell these t-shirts, you need to
Yeah.
sell these sneakers.
Mm.
What happens when people did not buy? Your customers have not bought any sneaker. It's month end. The 5 people need to be paid, and you are their boss.
I love that question. And that is why it's good to have a team around you. You surround yourself with a team that knows the vision.
Okay.
It's not vision 2024. It's vision 2026 or 2027. That when those tough times come through, I need you on my side. I need you to come help me say, you've got this. Yes, we might not get paid on time, whatever it is, but we can see the vision. We are with you all the way. Because if you don't get a team that supports you like they're supposed to, your dream can be derailed before it even begins.
Yeah.
And
Has it happened that you don't pay them? Let's say it's so tough that you say, guys,
I've paid late. I've paid late like once
Oh,
or twice
okay,
where
okay.
it has been tough because remember I also have stuff to do. And
Yes.
I've paid late once or twice, but I've had people that
Oh.
understand that it's not we're not here for a season. We're here for a long time.
So your overheads are production related, not that you rent a building.
That's the reason why I'm online I'm online right now because if I have to get a building and a store, it's a catch-22. I'll tell you why. Because people, especially black people, they like to feel, they like to touch, they like to put on.
Yes,
So it's very tough because now you want to sell this,
Yeah.
they like it, but they haven't felt it, so they're kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a catch-22. You have to. That's why I drive everywhere. I go everywhere, and I guaranteed you. I said, if it's not the most comfortable shoe you've ever worn, I'll give you a full refund.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how much I've put in this shoe because I know that you haven't seen it, you haven't felt it. You could be like, nah, Vleis. I'm like, okay, take it. Let me send it to you. If you're not happy with it, I'll give you a full.
Yeah. If in fact, but I wanted to ask you about again, how do you compete against this? There's a lot of, at least a lot of companies that I've studied the brand like yours, the big names that are known on billboards. How do you compete with such?
I love that, Ben.
Yeah.
I must say, I always say the only competition is the person in the mirror is me. Nobody else. I'm going at my own pace. With that being said, there's enough for everybody to eat.
Yep.
I'm not here to try get another company down or whatever because they've employed people and whatever.
True. Yes.
If you go to the bread aisle right now, you're gonna get Albany, Blue Ribbon, Sasco. And I tell you, sometimes we run out of bread because there's enough for everybody to eat. If I go home to Limpopo, I get to Muketi there. There's the grandmothers there sitting selling bananas right next to each other. Literally next to each other, there could be 15 of them. Yet bananas run out.
Wow.
Because there's enough for everybody to eat. One, that's number one. Two, I've made a completely different sneaker. You can get, there is no sneaker like this in South Africa.
So you bring something unique. Yeah.
If you're gonna do something that other people are doing, if you're gonna go campaign for elections, you need to tell what you are bringing to the table that the other one's not bringing. I've got the most comfortable shoe in South Africa. I call this the Rolls Royce of sneakers.
Wow.
I've put my workmanship in there. I've put my sweat and tears, and that's how I know that it might not be today, it might be tomorrow or even next year, but this bus and this driver are getting to the destination.
How do you market it out? And I mean, we know about big brands. They're out there. You even see advertisement. Kosana is wearing one, and Beginning is wearing. Everybody's wearing one. But how do you get your brand out there? How do you get, if it's not word of mouth like it got to me, but how do you get it out there? How does a person who has never heard of this brand, who has never seen anybody wearing it, how do they get to know?
Okay, so it starts with that word of mouth. Then I started doing social media, and then I've got some of my friends, Robert Boy, Twizer, Brighton, Opamanyis are wearing it or whatever the case is. And then this is where you have to take calculated risks because I don't have the funding like the big companies have.
So you don't pay TV advertisement?
No. So for example, I was in Orlando. There's a billboard there for, I think for like 30 days or 45 days or so.
Yeah.
But that's a calculated risk. So I got a bit of income and I said, I'm going to risk this. Because this intersection is one of the busiest, not just in Joburg, in South Africa. So that's a calculated risk. And that's some of the risks you have to take in business. That to say, I'm going to get 50,000 more people to see this King Place. And I work on the subconscious mind because the more you see something, the more your mind says, what is this? So I knew that if you come in, that takes it back and forth every day for 45 days. Eventually you're going to say, who is this King Place?
Tebatso, I want to go back to a big step back about, again, young people, which is, because unemployment is so huge in South Africa. But how do you encourage, you took that leap of faith, having been working corporate world. How do you encourage young people that are not working there? They are afraid to take that leap of faith and start their own businesses. How do you encourage them?
The word you just said right now, you need to start. I can tell you now, if this never worked out, which it will, but if it never worked out, it won't faze me. I will get up and start something else. I'll if there's somebody selling peanuts somewhere, I'll go taste that peanuts and find out what I think is missing on that and do a bit of research and go sell peanuts. But you can't be scared to start because unfortunately, our race, most of us are not trust fund babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had my father who backed me with 1 million with his shoes, I'd be having billboards, but I don't. And I'm not going to cry about it.
So you started with what you have.
Start with what you have. There it is.
Do you think there's sufficient support in the country for small business to grow, thrive, and make it out there? Do you think it's something that is immediately available that you go out and get help?
No, I don't think so.
What do you think is the problem?
South Africans are very brand conscious. So when somebody comes up with something new, it's hard for people. I've been blessed that I had somebody like President Zungula who saw me on social media and said, I'm going to give him a chance. South Africans are not always like that. It's like, hey man, Kimango, who are you? Here's another one trying to be Mangma.
And comfortable with our own brand.
You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable with our own brands. And you only if you get a backing and you start doing billboards and open a store in Sandton, that's when they're like, oh, I think he's serious about this. And somebody asked me, where do you want to open your first store? And I say Sandton. They're like, why? I'm like, because they'll take me serious. They'll think, if I go open a random store somewhere, people don't always take you serious. It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
But not everybody wants to give you that chance. And that's why after I knock, I kick that door open.
So when are you opening a store in Sandton?
No prayer.
What do you think you need to open a store? It doesn't get to the practicalities of business. How much do you think you would need in order to have a shop?
I think a shop at a nice place. At a nice place where it's busy. Not I think, I know because I've done my research already. You're looking at about 45 to 60,000 rand.
Okay.
45 to 60,000. I need to sell about 35 pairs of shoes. That's excluding salaries.
On an average, how many do you sell in terms of pairs of sneakers per month?
About 45.
45.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific target maybe to grow the 45 to 50?
Absolutely. I started with selling 5 a month. And then you say, okay, now I need to get to the next step. What do I do? What have I done now to sell the 5? Then you work out, you check the market, which sizes are selling. Like now I struggle, and because it was my first batch, and you learn as you grow, there are sizes I didn't have. Like ladies have small feet.
Yeah.
I missed out on a whole lot of sales.
Size 3, like Mhlega's.
It's like Mhlega's with size 3.
Yeah.
I missed out on a whole lot of sales because I didn't, I didn't understand. Like I said, nobody's teaching me this. I'm learning as I go, but it's gonna come.
Look into the future. Where do you see yourself? And I'm sure, you don't want to see yourself as a small company in 5 years' time. Where do you see yourself?
I'm gonna be the biggest shoe brand in South Africa, in Africa.
Okay.
Not in South Africa. I can guarantee you now. It's not a matter of if.
Yeah.
It's a matter of when. And in 5 years' time, I won't have 5 employees anymore. I'll have 50 employees minimum.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
No, we'll invite you back. Yeah.
I've seen people putting their brands in known stores out there. Is it something you're thinking of, approaching one particular store and say, sell this for me?
I did. It's a tough game there. It's a monster game. Actually, most people know how you can get in there, in it for themselves. So that's those barriers of entry. I did try that, and this guy said this and that, and that's when I just said, you know what? Nobody's coming to save you.
So
mate.
it's more like closed off. It's about who do you know?
Yeah. But I literally looked in the mirror and said, nobody's going to save you. You better save yourself. So I'll open my own store, King Vleis Clothing, with my own shoes, my own clothes in there.
You sound like a person who subscribed to the idea that says when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Where does that come from?
I grew up with a single mom, and I've seen how she hustled for me. That's my biggest inspiration, because I've seen how she just worked 3-4 jobs and this and that. And And look at me, I'm grown. Like, I don't know, I look back then when I had one pair of shoes and I was walking barefoot, and you think you won't get out of this hole, but you will. And also, that's just how I am. If it doesn't happen today or it doesn't happen tomorrow, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know that I've done everything I can in my power to make it work. The rest is God, and never, ever give up. That's one thing I can tell you.
Thank you for joining us, man. We wish you luck in your business. Let it grow.
Thank
the
you,
best.
brothers.
Yeah.
Thanks for
We've
having
been
me.
watching the sheds. We've been shedding light on King Vleis Clothing by Tebatso Manyama. That was yet another installment of the sheds. We continue shedding light on a variety of issues. Keep watching Soweto TV, channel 251, 9 o'clock every Tuesday, and on YouTube every Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Bye-bye.